Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Brian, and today we are going to take a look at something I've been using since August of 2019, August of last year. Something that I have really grown to adore with a few minor gripes. That something is this guy right here. This is the DREVO Blademaster TE TKL keyboard, and today I'm gonna help you guys decide if it's right for you. Now, before we get into the review, I want to let you guys know that I did buy this with my own money, and these are my personal findings with the keyboard. As always, check out the description box below for any related links I might be talking about today, and do not forget to like this video and subscribe for more content just like this. Alright, so in the box you will find the DREVO Blademaster TE, a nice fancy brush like this one right here, except I kind of may have misplaced the one that came with it. You get this nice keycap puller, a user guide, as well as this nice, wonderful sticker. I personally am not that big into stickers, but I do know that my 6-year-old son is, so you know it's kind of cool that they throw in a sticker as well. Alright, so my first impression when I pulled out the Blademaster TE out of the box was like, wow, this thing is like, you know, heavy duty, and the frame does not twist or turn or anything like that. It just feels nice and sturdy. Not only that, but it also looks pretty sweet as well. When you know, at first glance, you look at it, you're like, wow, this actually looks pretty awesome. For RGB, it has this really nice looking light strip that goes around the entire frame of the key, the outside of the keyboard itself, and it just looks really good. It does break up like in the corners, but it, again, the design of it is really nice and really thought out. The actual RGB on the keys also look pretty good as well, but the lighting does come from the top of the key switch, and so the bottom of the keys are going to be a little bit darker than the tops. It's not really noticeable on the main letters. But I did find like the special characters that are under like the number 1, the number 2, number 3, and so forth. Those ones were slightly harder to see because, again, the light comes from the top and those ones are towards the bottom of the keys, so they don't illuminate as well. It's honestly not that big of a deal. You'll be able to see all the special characters and everything like that, so you don't have to worry about it. It's just they're not as illuminated. So if that's a big deal to you, then you know. The corners of the keyboard have these angles to them, and I really like this design. I prefer this over like a standard keyboard with sharp edges. It just kind of you know, gives the keyboard a unique look, and I personally find it really attractive and appealing. On the bottom of the keyboard, you will find 3 rubberized feet towards the front of the keyboard, as well as 2 rubberized feet towards the back. The back ones do kick up if you prefer more of an incline on your keyboards, and they are super solid. So all these feet are absolutely solid, so you won't be moving this keyboard while gaming unless you absolutely mean to, if you're actually trying to move the keyboard. So the bottom of the keyboard also has 2 informational charts on it. One of them is going to explain like what the different DIP switches do, and then the second one will tell you kind of like the configurations and like the hotkeys that you need to press to enable certain knob modes. Speaking of the knob, it's, you know, it's okay, it's fine. Depending on what mode you've chosen, you can do stuff such as increase or decrease the brightness of your keyboard. You can increase or decrease the volume of your computer or your speakers. You can change the lighting preset, as well as a few other things. If you actually set it to the what's considered the FN page down mode, you can actually fully customize whatever else you would like the knob to do. But you're gonna have to go into the software. You're gonna have to mess around with it, kind of think of what you want to do, what you want to have the actual knob do, and you'll have to, you know, customize it from there. I'm sure you can do some pretty cool stuff on it. It just really depends on like what you do on your computer in the first place. And you know, I personally only use it for volume, and it works fine. I'm used to having kind of a scroll wheel for volume on my keyboards, and so it, you know, works great for that. And that's how, you know, I decided, you know, that's best use case for me. Now, another note on this knob is that it has no texture to it, so it's completely smooth. And although I can use the knob without an issue, I do find that it's, you know, the smooth aspect of the knob itself is kind of and you know, I wish you kind of had some texture on the knob itself. You really have to kind of put a lot of pressure, not a lot, but you have to put some pressure on the knob to get it to rotate, and I don't like that. I found it to be kind of hard to press in as well. It's not too hard, but it's, you know, it is a little bit hard to press in, especially, you know, without moving your keyboards. All right, so this keyboard does have ABS keycaps. But I can tell you right now, after using the keyboard for about 6 months, and using these caps for, you know, again, 6 months, I haven't really noticed much wear or excessive shine or anything as of yet, you know. So if you don't know a lot about ABS keycaps versus PBT, I will leave a link in the description box below that kind of like, it's to a video, and the video explains the differences between ABS and PBT. Basically, if you don't want to, you know, watch the video, essentially the ABS keycaps are commonly used on keyboards because they allow more light to shine through, so it makes them look a little bit nicer for the person that, you know, for people who don't know really the difference between PBT and ABS. While PBT keycaps are basically higher quality. They're just they're thicker, they feel nicer, they're really hard, you know, they're hard to break, they don't wear the same way, you don't get that shine that you would get on ABS. Again, it's going to be up to completely preference. These ones have held up pretty well. They'll probably need replaced eventually, but they look, you know, they look good and they're fine for now. Now, if you're like a, you know, a keyboard enthusiast and you want to have like the best of the best, you can always replace the keycaps with, you know, with a different set of keycaps if you choose to. But again, for a standard person that's just getting a keyboard for gaming, or somebody that's getting into PC gaming and that kind of stuff, I think this keyboard, when it comes to the keycaps, I think it's perfectly fine. Now, the last thing I want to mention about the design on the keyboard itself is going to be the cable. The cable is kind of like, it's like, you know, one of the standard cables that you would get off of Amazon for like $5. It's nothing special. It's not braided. Nothing, you know, it doesn't look great, but it does its job. The problem I have with it is that it's not like swappable. You don't plug it in and plug it on. It's directly connected to your keyboard. And it would have been nice if, you know, if DREVO gave you the option of removing the cable so you could upgrade it to a better one. I don't really care about having this one as a standard one, but, you know, for those of us who want to just kind of throw in a nicer looking cable, well, why not, you know, just, you know, the Pro version lets you plug it in and take it out. I mean, that's because the Pro version's wireless, but it would have been nice to see them implement that here as well. Oh well. Speaking of the cable itself, there's also 2 routing paths that you have on the bottom of it. One goes to the left, one goes to the right. I like the idea in practice because you can kind of like maneuver the cable exactly where you want it to go, but I found that the cable kind of fell out of it pretty easily. If you move the keyboard at all, it just kind of came out. All right, so for anyone who has used MX or Gatoron Brown switches, this keyboard is going to be really familiar. It's going to feel like MX or Gatoron Brown switches, you know what I mean? I personally came from the Corsair K70 with MX Brown switches, and my transition was super easy. I really like the feel and sound of the Gatoron Browns that I have in my particular keyboard. And so for those of you who are curious, here is a quick sound test for you guys. Honestly, it just sounds great. It feels great, you know, nice sounds, nice clicks, clacks, whatever you want to call it. It's nice. I also had no issues gaming with this keyboard, and I've typed a ton on it. I've done a lot of scripts, stuff like that. I've, you know, done gaming, all that kind of stuff. The keyboard works great. You know, the functionality, the hardware aspect of it, it's a great experience. You'll have no issues with that. On the flip side, however, although the hardware is really nice and kind of like everything feels really good, the software is actually pretty lackluster. It's pretty sad in my opinion. I will say it has come a long way since I got the keyboard back in August, but it's just very glitchy, and honestly, the only major issues I had with this keyboard really came on the software side of things. So the first gripe I have with it is that you have to sign up to use the software. There is an offline mode. which is awesome, but it won't work until you sign up for an account. I mean, software is supposed to come with the keyboard to customize it and everything, and the fact that they make you sign up for, you know, access to it, it doesn't make sense to me. The second issue I have with the software is that if you have it running in the background, so you don't have it open, you have it like minimized to your taskbar, and you have it running in the background, and then you leave your computer and PC goes to sleep, when you get your computer, when you wake up your computer and it comes back on, your keyboard lighting will actually not come back on unless you open the software and go into the keyboard settings. It doesn't matter whether or not you save the profile directly on your keyboard, but it just won't turn back on until you go into the settings, which to me, it makes absolutely no sense. The easy fix that I found for this is that, you know, make all the modifications you want in the software, save it to your keyboard, one of the 3 keyboard profiles, and then close the program after you're done using it. Simple as that. Like when you close off, when the program is turned off and it's not even turned on your computer and your PC goes to sleep, you turn it back on, lighting comes back on, no problem. I'm not sure why this works, but obviously it's some sort of software glitch. The downside of doing this is that if you play a lot of games and you like to have specific profiles for each game, well, you have to have the software on for those profiles to auto switch. In my opinion, the auto switching isn't really reliable anyways. It takes a while to just kind of switch and stuff like that, and then switch back after you close out of the game. But, you know, it's going to be really up to you whether or not you want that feature. Other than that, the software actually does have a ton of features packed into it. Like it's kind of surprising how much you can actually do with this keyboard with the software, even though the software is a little glitchy and stuff. You can customize any key you want to do whatever you want. Basically, you can make macros, all that good stuff. So there's keys that you don't use regularly and you want to set them up for macros, you can do that. The Genius knob is super customizable. So if you set it to the like the customizable configuration or the customizable knob mode, you can customize its single click, its double click, its forward motion, and its backwards motion. You can also enable what's called power control, in which lets you hold, like, say, control and then press the knob, and it'll give you, it's just like it's like a hotkey. It just lets you do a different command or set up a different command with a trigger key held. The RGB effects are absolutely wild, and you have a ton to choose from and customize. And honestly, other than, like I just said, the software being a little bit glitchy, there are tons of things you can do and have fun with when it comes to the software and this keyboard. I really like what the options they give you and all the different things you can do with it. DREVO just needs to go out there and fix the minor glitches with the software so we stop having headaches over it. All right, so moving on from the software, you can get this board in several different layouts. So there are chances are that depending on where you live in the world, there will be a layout that fits your particular region. And then you also have a lot of different switch types that are available. For Gatoron switches, you can choose from black, blue, brown, and red. And then for MX switches, you can actually choose from black, blue, brown, red, silent red, and speed silver. And in the United States, so from what I've checked and from what I've looked, when you look on Amazon, they actually don't have the black switches available in either the MX or the Gatoron. So if you want black, you're gonna have to go onto their actual website to try to order it. Now, if you go with the MX switches, you'll end up paying for it's about $90 to $100. I think it's $90 and $96 depending on which switch type you get. And then if you go with the Gatoron switches, you'll be looking at paying $70 US. Okay, so with all of that said and all that spit out at you guys, should you buy the DREVO Blademaster TKL keyboard, the 10 keyless keyboard? And honestly, for the price, you honestly really get a undeniable quality. This thing performs perfectly fine when gaming, and I never had any issues actually using the keyboard itself, typing or anything like that. I've never had any issues, and it worked perfectly fine. I choose this one over my K70 any single day. All the issues I had when it came to messing around with the keyboard and stuff like that was software related. I didn't have any hardware related stuff. It was all software related. So if you can get past the software issues that this keyboard definitely has, which will again depend on what you want to do with the keyboard, I think this keyboard is a killer option with the Gatoron switches at $70. As for moving up to like a Cherry MX's for like $90 or $96, I don't think it's necessarily worth it for me. I think the Gatoron switches at $70 is perfect for this keyboard. But again, if you absolutely need MX switches, you're gonna have to decide whether or not the extra cost is worth the MX switches. I personally don't think so, but that's me. If you found this video helpful, please give me a thumbs up. If you hated it, give me a thumbs down. and let me know why in the comments below. I can't help, can't change, can't fix things that you don't like if you don't let me know why, right? Also, check out my latest video. It'll be popping up right here. Whoop! And don't forget to subscribe for more tech content just like this. If you have any questions, also let me know those in the comments below as well. Thanks for watching, guys.